welcome back and happy Life Day. This is a Christmas bonus episode or a holiday bonus episode. I don't mean to demean whatever you do. Whatever you celebrate. It's that time of year. I have a tendency to lean towards Christmas, but just know that it's that I'm trying to spread joy to whatever you believe in. If you believe in Krampus, then you believe in Krampus. That's fine, Originally, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special was supposed to be your bonus episode. That was supposed to come out on Christmas Day, but I ended up flip-flopping because what I wanted to do was something that was not really done with the channel, in per se, with the Bestow TV YouTube channel. And I thought that this might be a fun little experiment, and if it works out, rather, maybe I'll do this more frequently with other videos that is on the Bestow TV YouTube channels. What I would like to do is I would like to provide a commentary for a series of shorts that I had produced for the holiday season. So it started last year. I did it last year. I was actually producing a series called A Moment of Geek Zen, where we kind of do like Lego builds or puzzles or anything that's kind of tied to the geek culture kind of thing. But tried to do it, I was trying to do it in a way that was kind of like how I was producing Caustunes, where it's a music video where you can kind of, enjoy the music and enjoy the cosplay on display. I was kind of doing the same thing where it's like, oh, maybe we'll do like a build where somebody may like watching the build, but it's all in, I want to say it was in time lapse, but technically it isn't in time lapse. I shoot it in real time and then make it into time lapse in the post edit. So that I can kind of keep down the time. It's like, I don't, some of these builds take several hours to do, and I kind of wanted to summarize it and maybe like, oh, if I can summarize this in 5 minutes, maybe everybody in the world will love it and share it. Subscribe now. But anyway, at the time, YouTube's rolled out their shorts, and I wanted to experiment with it, where it's like, well, I have some stuff here that I kind of want to do, but I don't want to necessarily dedicate like a 5-minute video, 10-minute video, 15-minute video, however long it takes to produce these things, and kind of try to boil it down. Is there something that I can do in anywhere from 15 to a minute, and just kind of get it out there? People enjoy it, people consume it, and we can playlist it or whatnot. And one of these things that I did do were actually two things, I should say, were the Lego Advent calendars. And I would drop them, or they get dropped day of the opening of the calendar. So day one would be day 1, 2, 3, etc. The other side is I did two calendars. So I'm a Marvel fan and I'm a Star Wars fan. So of course, I tap into the Marvels and the Star Wars end. As a matter of fact, this year I considered throwing in Harry Potter. I mean, I'm not really much of a Potter fan, but I assume that maybe somebody's out there, or people out there that might want to see that. But it's kind of rough because with doing Star Wars and Legos, with doing Star Wars and Marvel, it just kind of, it's like, it's 2 releases a day for 24 days. I don't know if I could do 3 releases a day for 24 days and make it all viable. It's actually kind of hard to keep up with trying to do 24 days and not screw up an aspect of it, not to screw up the thumbnail, which now they kind of got rid of them. They got rid of the thumbnails in mid-stride, so it's like some of my stuff has thumbnails and some of them don't. They got rid of the short thumbnail, I should say. They might bring it back, but I still rework the thumbnails just in case I want it. Stuff, doing the thumbnails and doing the SEO and doing the titles and doing the descriptions and doing the editing and doing the shooting. And then the complication this year is, like I said in the past podcast, where it's like I'm still kind of working a side hustle or doing a side job, so it's kind of balancing that with all the other stuff. And then realize it's like, oh, you only have like X amount of days and you're going to run out of videos, and you want these to be day of, and you're running out of time, dude. Get your head out of your butt and let's go. So anyway, I did these as a short. The shorts are the you've seen them. They're Facebook calls them reels. I don't know. They're called something else on, TikTok made them famous. They're vertically, the orientation is vertical versus horizontal. They have to be a minute, anywhere from 15 minutes to a minute, 15 seconds to a minute rather. Kind of very reverse of my training as a video producer, but whatever, I guess, whatever gets people in the door and subscribed and watching some of this stuff. So if you go to youtube.com/Bestow TV and you click, you either click on, I think I have it on the page there, or if not, you can search for Lego Guardians of the Galaxy Advent Calendar or Star Wars Advent Calendar and get the playlist. I will try to be top of mind and put the links in the description, so maybe you don't have to search for it. You can just click on the links and go right to it and watch with me. So I'm gonna start with the Guardians of the Galaxy shorts. I'm gonna start with day one. Again, everything came out the day of when the calendar opens. Sorry, here's another derailment before we even start, because this was a comment that was on one of the videos. Do you open the doors? Do you do the advent calendars 24 to 1? So you do it backwards. So on day 1 you open door 24, on day 2 you open door 23. So you're actually essentially you're counting down to Christmas, or do you do it 1 to 24 so that you're counting up for Christmas? Media wants to show me that it's the other way. When I watch Vegas Vacation, Christmas Vacation. When I'm watching Christmas Vacation, God, would they have an advent calendar in Vegas Vacation? No. When I'm watching Christmas Vacation, they're opening the doors counting up to the 24th. Any kind of Christmassy movie, if there's an advent calendar involved, they're always opening up to the 24. But that might be just a thing to give the viewer the understanding of passage of time, where it's like, oh, well, this is day 1, and then maybe they'll open day 13. Well, X amount of days have already passed. This is day 13 now. So is that a thing that's just a Hollywood thing, or are you supposed to do it backwards? Are you supposed to start with 24 and go backwards? I think as far as a video producer's aspect, because I'm releasing this day and date of, I kind of feel like if I do it the opposite way, first of all, I'm going to screw myself up trying to count backwards. And the other thing is, I don't know, like I think it's better if I just go the opposite way, if I go 1 to 24. But if you're able to, please comment your comments somewhere, wherever you can post whatever you can say, or you can go to our Facebook groups page, facebook.com/group/friends of Bestow TV. Join up and leave some comments there. I want to chat with you. I want to hear this. What is your opinions? Let's move on. So we got day 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me make sure my audio is off. My audio is off. Of course, we're going to get bombarded with ads. I apologize for that. And day 1, of course, happens to be the Star-Lord build. So it's a minifigure. I'm actually, when it comes towards the Lego Advent calendars, I'm actually a big fan of the minifigures over most of the other stuff. Depends on what it is. But yeah, I totally okay with having a Star-Lord as the first Lego first day of the Lego Advent calendar. The other thing I kind of like about the Advent calendars is I sometimes like how you'll open something and then a little bit later you get something that goes back towards like how they relate to each other. So there's sometimes you're building towards a bigger set. I don't know if if there's any adult Lego collectors out there, if there's a preference, if you like that kind of stuff. I kind of like it. I like adding towards the minifigure collection, so I lean towards having the minifigures. Here's where the set gets wonky. So we're on to day 2 now. Day 2 just gives you some random presents. So I'm assuming, I shouldn't say I'm assuming. I know that the presents are there for, the overall arc of the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special kind of things. It's a part of the play feature. Visually, like as a video producer trying to produce this for other adult collectors, it's a tough build because it's not really much of it. You're not really building anything. I think like 3 pieces actually interlock and that's it. So it's like a tough show. This is not one of my favorite pieces to show on the Advent calendar side of these Lego builds. But it is what it is. I try to, if they're kind of a little bit more on the lame side, I try to Keep it a little bit slower. It was like what? It's a present and a tape deck, and then I bring in the Star Lord to show there's headphones that he can wear. On to day 3. So now we get a prison drone. Hey mom, what did you get for? Hey mom, I got a prison drone for Christmas. Thanks. Um, Now this leans towards one of the more fun builds. There's more to it. You're actually building a piece that's from the movies. I display the damn drone upside down for some reason, so that's an oopsie on me. I didn't realize that the arms go underneath, and I'm showing it off upside down. But nobody calls me out on it. But now that I pointed it out, yeah, please be nice, please be kind. I don't come to your job and point out your error, so don't come to my job and do that. Anyway. Day 4, we get to a tool set. So Lego kind of does this with the advent calendars. I kind of noticed this with like the Star Wars stuff from last year. There's always a weapons rack. I think like last year was like 3 freaking weapons racks on different days. Again, I think it's for like the overall aesthetic. If you're a big time Lego collector and you have displays and whatnot, you're probably going to want like all different types of weapon racks, and this kind of helps provide you with a little bit of extras. I'm honestly, Lego is kind of expensive for me to get into, so I kind of pick and choose what I like. For a little bit there, I was picking things that I thought would work for our Moment of Geek Zen kind of builds. So like things like this set don't really do much for me because like I barely have displays for space to display my 6-inch G.I. Joe classified set, so I really don't have the space for some Legos. I think I have some on display a little bit here and there, but for most part they sit in a box until I yearn to play with some Legos for whatever damn reason. Of course, we got a commercial, so you may not have a commercial, but I have a commercial in the middle of my damn ads. I just wanted to reflect, I was just saying about how random, randomly would just take out Legos and just, as an adult, just kind of indulge in like screwing around with pieces and parts of Legos. And I wanted to reflect on when I was younger. One of my friends was getting married. And he was at the house and he was just hanging out. And I had like the Lego castles. Like there was stuff that was like, it was on clearance, so it was super cheap. So there was like a huge Lego castle set and a lot of other stuff. And I just had them out on the table and just kind of messing around with them. And he kind of came out and to take care of some business towards his wedding. And he ended up staying for several hours just building Legos with me. These are. I mean, I don't know, we're like in our 20s, so two young adults playing with Legos. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Just enjoy your stuff. But moving on. Day 5. Another minifig. This is Rocket Raccoon. Always happy to get Rocket Raccoons added to my sets. I believe there was a Rocket Raccoon in last year's set as well. So yeah, cool stuff. Actually put his tail on back. I think I put his tail on upside down in the build. When I was trying to stand him up later on, he was flopping over. And, I think it's in between cuts where I bring Rocket back. Rocket has his tail the right side up. There's a lot of things, not to point out. I just told you don't. I don't go to your job to point out everything that's wrong. Now I'm about to point out everything that's wrong in my job. But yeah, there's some times where I'll put a piece on upside down and it's on camera upside down, but later on I realize it's wrong and I'll fix it. A lot of times it's just fixed. I don't, there was a time where maybe like if it was a Moment of Geek Zen, I'll show the correction. But most of the time I just kind of edit it out and just like it just automatically it's correct. You only have 15 seconds to a minute to consume it, and I'm pretty sure people aren't really like super concerned. I don't think people are overanalyzing it. It's me with my producer brain that is overanalyzing it. So we get another toolbox. Again, lame as far as like the overall. I mean, it has an eyeball, so that's hilarious to include there. But yeah, it's kind of whatever. I mean, if you have the set, if you have if you have stuff to display, it's fine. If not, yeah, pass back. The next one in the line is Day 7, where that the BFG I labeled it as. It's basically what it is, a big friggin' gun. Or a big friendly giant, however you read BFG. But yeah, it's a gun build for Rocket Raccoon. Really cool. Yeah, it's a neat aspect. It's something to go with the minifigures, and it's functional. Day 8. So we get a turkey and flamethrower. So again, so with the BFG, we went back and I brought back Rocket Raccoon to hold the gun, and this one's another one. It's again, it's for aesthetics. You get a turkey and a table, and then you get a fire that actually attaches to the BFG. I think it's an aspect that, I was actually moving on to the next day and was kind of tearing it down, moving everything over. And I think I looked at the box and I saw that the flames were attached to the BFG on the box. And so I ended up going back and putting everything back in the shot and adding the flames to it. So you got Raccoon like charboiling the turkey with a flamethrower gun. But again, it's so weird. It's like it's just a box. It's just a box of for that day. It's just kind of like meh. It's like, oh, it's just turkey and a fire effect that could have just been with the gun to begin with. You got to do what you got to do. I guess not all of them can be winners. Another minifig, Nebula wearing a Christmas sweaters. Again, I kind of like the minifig sets. I'd be excited for a Lego set or Lego Advent calendar if they were just every 24 days of minifigures. I'd be okay with that. So the next one is a micro build of the laser drill that appears in the movies. It's cool. I guess there's, from my understanding, that there is a full size build of this particular item. It's just in mini form. That's cool. Day 11, we get a drill and pod. So we get another drill, but it's even smaller. So you get an even smaller drill to go with your last drill, and you get the escape pod that's supposed to go with the from my understanding it's supposed to go with the Milano, but it doesn't fit with the Milano. The Milano is a micro build, and the escape pod is way too big for it. Another lame one, I have this labeled as drinks and treats. It's just cupcakes and bottles. Okay, it adds to the aesthetic of the Christmas, I guess. If you're going to put these out, if you're not going to put out the manger scene, which is fine, you can have this Guardians of the Galaxy Advent calendar, and you can put them out celebrating their chosen holiday for the holiday special, and they have drinks and treats, and they have presents, and they have Christmas sweaters. It all works together. But overall, lame. Day 13, we got Mantis with an awesome freaking guitar. Oh my gosh. I like that Mantis she's not really into any Christmassy colors. So if you want to use her, if you don't have her for any other set and you want to use her moving forward, you can totally do that. And I'm loving the guitar, and I'm not liking the 50th ad that I have to freaking watch. My gosh. You're killing me, Smalls. All right, day 14, we got the Benatar. So we got a micro build of the Benatar. I'm really like the ships of Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm more than happy to have a micro build of the ship. Micro builds, unfortunately, you kind of build them once, you look at them, and then they kind of get put into storage. They're not really like the big ships or the cars and stuff that would kind of sit on a shelf a little bit longer. Again, the escape pod is supposed to be for this. So the escape pod was for the Benatar, not the Milano, but it doesn't fit. Day 15, a candy cane. What more can I say about it? It's a friggin' candy cane. I guess if you watch the holiday special, it has significance. But yeah, it's a candy cane. Moving on. Day 16, we got a stereo. Let the stereo play. Neat little aspect. I think it's based off of the stereo that's inside the Milano. It's got a little tape deck. It's kind of in separated speakers. it's neat. This is day 17, the Thanos snowman. It's reminiscent of Thanos. So when after he does the snap, he kind of builds a scarecrow, and because that's kind of his aspirations afterwards. There's nothing really much more to do, so he just kind of basically becomes a farmer. And there's a scarecrow that wears his armor. So this kind of pulls from that idea where, instead of the scarecrow, it's a snowman. It's neat. It's neat, and you get extra armor pieces if you need them. So day 18, so we get another mini build of the Milano. Again, I'm more happy to have the Milano and the Benatar. Too bad we don't have the Bowie. They probably not enough time to make the Bowie, but cool build. I like this. I like this better than a candy cane, but it is what it is. I shouldn't complain. That I'm sure that the intended audience is children, not man-childs or women-childs or adult childs. So I get it. All right, so we're day 19. We get a Groot build. Pretty cool. He has like this nice little data pad, and it's just neat where it's kind of where like in the shot you can see just sitting there and it's facing the camera, and it just looks like just the way it's painted, it looks like it's glowing. And I don't think Groot's very Christmassy oriented. So if you wanted to add him to your collection, if you don't have him and you wanted to add him to a modern collection, a non-holiday collection, a non-Christmas collection, you can do so. So we're at day 20. So this is something that goes back towards the other characters. So this is a Christmas tree, but the Christmas tree, if you watch the Groot build, he wears like this backpack, and you make this Christmas tree, and it attaches to Groot, and it's either I assume it's growing out of him. It's either growing out of him or he's carrying a Christmas tree. But this is a thing that I kind of like, where it goes back to using something that you opened on another day, and it's kind of cool and it's kind of neat. And it is what it is. Day 21, Santa's rocket sleigh. Okay, so here's the thing so they did this rocket sleigh and they broke it apart across 3 days. So I think like Lego's like, okay, we're out of ideas here, so we're just going to do this bigger build, this big-ish build, and we're going to spread it across 3 different days. Also, a technical thing, the thing that you don't see, but if you're quick enough and you spot it, when I open it up, that compartment is empty. There's nothing in there. That is because the part was actually in day 3. It was a piece that I had to edit out because I pull out the day 3. I pull out the package for the day 3, and I see that there's something else in there, and I pull out the other ththing. It's actually the Santa sleigh, and I put it back into 3 and save it for when I'm like, oh, this is probably another day. So editor's note, this was misplaced. This is somewhere else. It's fun and it's neat. It's holiday themed, so it is what it is. You get to get your Star-Lord. I labeled it Star-Lord's rocket sleigh, or rocket sleigh for Star-Lord, but I don't think it really matters. So then we get to day 22, and it's like the wings for the sleigh. So the first one was like the core of the sleigh. The next day is the wings of the sleigh. And then the final day, the day 23, is the compartment that attaches to the back that carries the Santa's sack. It's kind of neat and it's neat in its execution, but it sucks as well. It's like, you get the core, which is neat. I guess it could stand on its own, but then you get wings for the next day, and that's just like, oh, that's a little weird. And then the next day after that, you get like the piece that goes to the end, and it's like, oh, well, that doesn't really stand on its own. I'd almost like, again, I'd almost would like to see something like for 24 days, you just put together one big, not just a bunch of little tiny scenes, but it just builds to something big. You put together a huge fucking ship or something. But then again, you end up with what I'm just complaining about here, where it's like, well, some of these things don't stand on their own. They have to be a part of something bigger. But I think if you knew that going in, where it's like, oh, you're going to build something that is going to go towards a bigger piece, that'd be pretty cool. All right, so day 24, the last day of this advent calendar, we get Drax in his holiday sweater. It should totally be Drax wearing that cat with laser eyes riding a pizza. It is not. It's just an ugly Christmas sweater with Groot on it. All right, so I know we're only like halfway through the advent calendars. Now we got to do the Star Wars part, and we're already quite a bit over time. So honestly, it's Christmas. You're gonna get a double stuffed episode. Hopefully, you listen to this while you're opening your presents, and this will serve as like your Yule log or whatever. This is your Mariah Carey singing in the background. But moving on, I'm going to go to the Star Wars advent calendar that I did, and we'll go from day 1 to day whatever. And again, you can go to youtube.com/BestowTV and look up the playlist, or I'll try to include the link in the description below. And we start this off with an ad. Yay, ads! I shouldn't complain I'm getting revenue, but my God, they're obnoxious with these things. Day 1, we go with the Republic gunship. Again, as I expressed in the Guardian set, I kind of like these micro builds. They're kind of neat for what they are. I kind of like getting those little tiny packages that are sometimes they have micro builds. This kind of if I'm to hit that nostalgia button, it's just a reminder of like when McDonald's used to actually put damn Legos in their Happy Meals. So I think that always came out around Christmas. So it was always fun to get a Happy Meal that you could put a car together or something like that. And it's just the nostalgia funness of putting together a small version of the Republic gunship is it's fun. I enjoyed it. Day 2, we get a clone trooper. I labeled it Cody because he's wearing orange, and I believe Cody's the orange clone trooper. My understanding when I ended up having to do research, because I ended up doing research after the fact, because some of these things I don't really know what the hell they are. So I had to look up things to see what they are, so I could label them correctly. And apparently, this Cody, or not Cody, but this particular orange trooper was released like 3 times across like several Lego sets, and people were pissed. Whatever. It's more troopers for me, and he's not really holiday themed. He's basic, so if I need to put up a scene with more troopers, I got more troopers. So day 3. So here's an example of like why I had to look up other places to see what the heck is in each day. Is that we have this droid tri fighter, which I had no clue what it is. The droid tri fighters, I believe, are Clone War era Star Wars stuff. Here I'm a big Star Wars fan. I don't even know what the hell these things are. So when I assembled it, I thought it was a satellite. I'm kind of holding it the wrong direction. I'm kind of floating it around kind of like a satellite. Sorry, my bad, but that's a behind the scenes thing that you now know. So then we get to day 4, micro build of a cruiser. Again, fun builds. I like the micro builds. I can't argue when we get small, teeny tiny ships. All right, so then we get to day 5. We get a battle droid. Whoever was complaining about the getting clone troopers, I've got a crap ton of battle droids. I had a few Lego sets when episode 1 came out, so episode 2 and 1 and 3, I believe. So I have quite a few battle droids. It's just another thing to add to. It's a trooper. So Dad's day 6. Again, here's another reason why I needed reference Bad Batch shuttle. I watched a few episodes of Bad Batch, but I'm not deeply into Bad Batch. So I have no clue. I had no clue what the heck this was or what this was a reference to. Again, true Star Wars fan, not knowing his stuff. We get Luke Skywalker's land speeder, another micro build. I feel like the land speeder was in another set. I could be wrong. Maybe it was. Well, I mean, this is my second year of doing the advent calendars. So if it was, it would have been in last year's set. So I could either look through the Lego box or I could recall the videos. But again, it's just really liking I like the micro builds. They're a little bit more fun than toolboxes and candy canes, and there's a little bit more to them. So day 8, we got the T-16 Skyhopper. This was a thing that was referenced in the original Star Wars, and then they made use of it in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. But yeah, now you got a Lego Lego micro build of it. Day 9, we get the C-3PO in his ugly sweater. Between micro builds and characters, yeah, I'm happy with them. I personally enjoy them. Day 10, we get Tatooine Moisture Vapor Vaporator. Cool. It's neat. Prefer a ship, but yeah, whatever. Again, if you're into building dioramas or whatever, I mean, it's a thing. It's an extra thing you have. A V-35 land speeder. I knew it was a land speeder. I needed help identifying this. I still am not 100% sure where the V-35 is from. I want to say it's a Clone Wars era kind of thing, but it may actually appear in The Mandalorian. Comment below. Comment wherever you can comment. Neat one is we got Beach Darth Vader wearing an ugly Christmas sweater on top of that. So why would he be Beach Darth Vader? Okay, well, I guess beach planets or whatever. I mean, nothing's earthbound. Neat build. Actually, I think like he's probably my favorite minifigure so far. The Lego Sandcastle. So Vader is supposed to go with this. I did not realize that at time of filming, so I don't show Vader with it. Usually, if it ties back to another set, I'll bring whatever character forward to that set. Day 14, we get a B-wing starfighter micro build. Really neat. I'm gonna have to go back and review I'm gonna have to go back and watch these again, and maybe like provide some sort of written. Maybe if I can go to the Friends of Group page, or maybe the community tab on YouTube, and just rank these micro builds, because I really like how they come, or how they work out, and I really like that. I think like the B-wing is probably one of my favorite ones out of the set. We get the TIE Interceptor on day 15. Again, awesome micro build. Why couldn't Guardians have more micro builds like this? I mean, I guess because the universe is not as robust as Star Wars, so we don't really get the micro builds as such. So I mean, I guess like because last year's set wasn't specific. Last year's set was like Avengers, so they have like pretty much all of Marvel to use in last year's Advent set, whereas this one is it's specifically, it's to hone in on that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, so it's kind of specific to that. And then here we go. I said this in the Guardians thing. We get basically a weapons rack. We get some mouse droids too, which are pretty cool. They're teeny tiny. I just foresee losing them everywhere, and a working gun, and yeah, it's a weapons rack. What more can I really say about it? Day 17, we get a snowtrooper. So when I opened up this snowtrooper, I kind of looked in the helmet, and there was just a peg in the helmet. I thought it was just a generic peg because they're troopers, so they're not really associated with having faces. So I didn't really think that there was a face on the peg that was in there. And when I went to assemble it, when I went to put the helmet on, the peg kind of came out, and it was a face of a black person. And of course, the internet being the internet, had to kind of chime in with, "Oh, of course it has to be a black person. Lego would get sued otherwise." And to which I had to say, it's like, I like the fact that there's diversity. I like the fact that it's not a yellow guy or a white guy or whatever, that they have different heads. I mean, granted, they're Legos, so I could probably swap the head with anybody at any time, but I like the fact that they did this. I'm sorry to that person who was upset, but all in all, it's a minifigure. I've already said my piece about minifigures. It's a snowtrooper. It is a trooper. Honestly, I do have a little bit of a trooper collection going on. I believe I have a couple of the not really mini sets. Are they mini sets? I don't know how to label them. But they have like a crap ton of snowtroopers and Hoth people. I kind of like the set kind of leans towards Hoth, because then we get to day 18 where we kind of get labeled as the Hoth cannon, but it's not to be confused with the huge ion cannon. It's just, I guess, it's more accurate. It's the Hoth turret. It's a turret that just kind of spins around, and it's got some action to it, some playability to it. The next one on there is, of course, we get the ATST to hark back to Mr. Lobo, where we argue about AT-ATs. Is it AT-ATs or it's AT-ATs? You got to say AT-ATs. It's always referred to AT-ATs. But then here's my arguments to why you would say AT-AT instead of AT-AT rather, because then you have the AT-ATST. And if you follow the same naming convention, then this is the ATST. And I don't think anybody has ever referred to this as the ATST. So that's where I'm like, okay, my argument is AT-AT and ATST. They're acronyms. But it's kind of nice you gave it a little piece of snow to put it on. It's all part of the Hoth set. Day 20 is a Hoth radar dish. Again, kind of more fun play set. I mean, I kind of like that this, again, kind of ties into all the other pieces in the set, so you kind of you got the Hoth Trooper, you got the Snow Trooper. You don't have any Hoth like Rebels, but you do get Luke Skywalker, which is right now day 21 is the Hoth Luke Skywalker with his lightsaber. Got a mask, he's got like the goggles, but then the goggles you can also place on the helmet. Kind of neat feature. And it's not really a Christmassy theme. So if you don't have a Hoth Luke Skywalker, well, you get one out of this set. And then to go with the Luke Skywalkers, you get the Hoth Wampa. It's a Wampa? I think so, yeah. You get the ice cave, and it's got a bone that connects to it. And in actuality, the way it assembles is that you can actually take Luke and you can hang him upside down in the ice cave. And I did, now they don't show this in the artwork, but I removed, they show it where Luke is hanging upside down, but then they put the lightsaber just out of reach or whatever. But the way I saw it is that you can just remove the bone, take the blade off of the lightsaber, and put the lightsaber in where the bone was. Fun little tidbit is when I popped off the bone, it went flying across the room, and the cat went after it. The bone no longer exists. I think there's a spare bone for this reason, for in case your cat decides to have at the bone, and I feel like it's just getting worse the more I talk about it. So moving on. Day 23 is the Santa Droid. Peculiar, but hey, it's fun. It's more than a toolbox. I'll give it that. It's more than a table full of pastries. It's a fun little build. I'm sure it's canon somewhere. I'm sure that there was a Santa droid located in Jabba's palace. So you just look out for it. And if it's not, it will be soon when they alter it. And then we get them to day 24. We get the component to C-3PO. We get the R2-D2 in the ugly sweater. Very cool. Very cool. I kind of like the fact that they have the characters, the minifigures with the ugly sweaters kind of thing. I mean, I like that you get stuff that kind of, if you want to expand your troop building, or you want to expand like your diorama or whatever, you have that, and that's a neat aspect. But I also kind of like some of this Christmassy thing where it's in the theme where they have like their Christmas sweater. You probably have 30 R2D2s and 3 C3POs, but you don't have one in a Christmas sweater. So I'm kind of like right down the line with it. When it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy, and if you watch the holiday special, Quill doesn't really wear anything Christmassy in that show. Neither does Groot, neither does Mantis, neither does Rocket Raccoon. So in that set, it kind of makes sense that they don't wear holiday sweaters versus everybody else does. Although Gamora doesn't wear a holiday sweater. Not Gamora, sorry. Nebula doesn't wear a holiday sweater, but she was wearing a holiday sweater in that set. A hilarious holiday sweater. It has Thanos on it, and I believe on the back it has like her and Nebula, or her and, gosh, I get their names mixed up. It's her and Gamora side by side on the back of the sweater. But I kind of like the Christmassy theme. Apples for apples, I actually kind of like the Star Wars set this year better than the Guardians of the Galaxy set. There's just a lot more micro builds. There's a lot more, you get the more ships and more things that are tied to it. At least for me, they may not sit out for very long. They're just kind of a fun little thing to do, to play with in your downtime. Versus like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, granted, the Guardians of the Galaxy is leaning towards, like, say, a diorama kind of idea, where it's like, well, all this extra stuff, the table, the tool chests, all that stuff kind of leads into like a diorama kind of play where it's all interactive within its own set. But I kind of like the Star Wars build over the Guardians of the Galaxy build. If anybody wants it, if you guys want to, if enough of you make a noise, maybe I'll look at the first set I did, which was 2021. But from what I can recall, I almost feel like the Star Wars and the Marvel were on equal footing, because the Marvel was the Avengers. You had more to pull from for the Avengers versus, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, where their universe is just a little bit smaller, so you don't have as much to pull from. But that was my commentary. If you'd like to hear more commentaries on more Bestow TV stuff, or even non-Bestow TV stuff, I mean, maybe I'll go raid OSI and provide commentary on Mr. Lobo stuff that I was never present for, just because I can. But anyway, if you'd like to comment where you can comment, if you can't comment where you can comment, we welcome you to join Friends of Bestow TV at Facebook.com/group/Friends of Bestow TV. I'd be happy to chat with you there, and have a happy Life Day. I am glad that you stuck with me for the extra time. I think we kicked in about extra 15 minutes. I'm glad that you enjoyed the extra legwork of today. Just one more podcast until the end of the year, and then we start season 3 of this stuff. So I thank you all for sticking it out. I thank you all for being regular listeners, and again, happy Life Day.